Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. I hope you are having a wonderful day wherever you are listening from. I am Emily, and today we are going to talk about one of the most common problems English learners face. It doesn't matter if you are a beginner or an advanced learner, almost everyone gets confused by certain adjectives. Sometimes we know the words, but we don't know when to use them. We mix them up, and suddenly our sentence means something completely different. Don't worry, because today we are going to clear up all that confusion together.
Hello, everyone. I am George, and I have to admit something before we start. Even people who speak English every day sometimes make adjective mistakes. Why? Because English has many words that look almost the same but have different meanings. One small change can completely change your sentence. Today, we're going to learn these adjective pairs in a fun and simple way. We'll use real-life examples, funny conversations, memory tricks, and even a few quizzes. By the end of this episode, you'll feel much more confident using these adjectives.
So grab your favorite drink, relax, and let's begin our journey into the world of adjectives. George, before we start learning different adjective pairs, I think we should answer one important question. Why do so many people confuse adjectives in the first place? Every day I hear students saying things like, I am boring, or the students are very interesting in English. They know the vocabulary, but they still make mistakes. Why does this happen?
That's a great question. I think the biggest reason is that many adjectives look almost identical. For example, interested and interesting. Only two letters are different, but they have completely different meanings. When learners see two similar words, they often think they can use them in the same way. Another reason is that many languages don't have this kind of difference. So when people translate directly from their own language into English, they naturally make mistakes.
That's true. Another problem is that many learners memorize vocabulary lists instead of learning words inside sentences. They remember that boring means something about being bored, but they don't learn who or what should be described. That's why examples are so important. Today, we won't just learn meanings. We'll understand how these words work in real conversations.
Exactly. Learning grammar is good, but understanding the reason behind grammar is even better. Once you understand the pattern, you won't have to memorize hundreds of rules.
Before we continue, let's make sure everyone understands what an adjective actually is. An adjective is simply a describing word. It gives us more information about a noun. Without adjectives, our English would sound very plain. Imagine saying, I bought a car. That's okay, but what kind of car? Is it fast? Is it old? Is it expensive? Is it beautiful? Adjectives help us paint a picture in the listener's mind.
That's a wonderful explanation. Think about meeting a friend. Instead of saying, I met a man, you could say, I met a friendly man. Suddenly, the listener knows something about him. Or instead of saying, I visited a city, you could say, I visited a beautiful city. Just one adjective makes the sentence much more interesting.
Exactly. Adjectives make our communication richer. They help us express feelings, opinions, descriptions, and comparisons. The problem isn't using adjectives. The problem is choosing the correct adjective. Before we learn our first adjective pair, I want everyone to remember one simple rule. This rule will help you again and again throughout today's lesson.
Yes, here it is. Most adjectives ending in ing describe the thing, person, place, or situation that creates a feeling. They tell us what causes the emotion.
And adjectives ending in ed usually describe how a person feels. They describe emotions or reactions. Think of it this way. If a movie makes you laugh, then the movie is amusing, and you are amused. If homework makes you feel tired, then the homework is tiring, and you are tired. This one simple pattern will solve many English mistakes. Now let's look at one of the most famous adjective pairs in English, bored and boring. I hear this mistake almost every single day. Students often say, I am boring today.
When I hear that, I smile because I know what they really mean.
That's right. If you say, I am boring, you're actually saying that other people don't enjoy being with you. You're saying that you are the reason people lose interest. But if you say, I am bored, you're telling people that you don't have anything interesting to do.
Let's imagine two situations. In the first one, a teacher speaks for 3 hours without any energy, examples, or activities. Students start looking at the clock every 5 minutes. That teacher's lesson is boring. Now think about the students. They are sitting quietly, wishing the class would end. How do they feel? They feel bored.
Exactly. The class is boring. The students are bored. One causes the feeling. The other experiences the feeling. That's the difference.
Let me give another example. Imagine you're waiting at an airport for 6 hours because your flight is delayed. The waiting time is boring. You become bored. Notice how both words are connected, but they have different jobs.
Here's a funny story. One of my students once walked into class and confidently said, "Teacher, I am very boring today." I laughed and said, "No, you're not boring. You're just bored." He laughed too and said, "Thank goodness. I don't want everyone to think I'm boring."
Now, let's move on to another pair that learners often confuse: interested and interesting. George, can you explain this one?
Of course. Let's start with an example. I love learning about space. So I say, I am interested in space. Space is the topic that catches my attention. Therefore, space is interesting.
Exactly. The book is interesting because it gives you useful or exciting information. You become interested because you're enjoying it. The same pattern appears again. The thing is interesting. The person feels interested.
Let's imagine you're watching a documentary about ancient Egypt. The documentary is full of amazing facts, beautiful pictures, and exciting discoveries. The documentary is interesting. As you watch it, you want to learn more. You become interested.
That's why we should always ask ourselves one question: who has the feeling? If the person has the feeling, use interested. If the thing creates the feeling, use interesting.
And here's a common mistake. Some learners say, "I am very interesting in football." That's incorrect. The correct sentence is, "I am very interested in football." But if everyone enjoys listening to you talk about football, then you might actually be an interesting person.
Let's pretend we're meeting for the first time.
Sounds good.
Hi, what do you like to do in your free time?
I love reading books about history because I find history very interesting.
Really? I'm interested in history too. Which period do you enjoy the most?
I enjoy learning about ancient civilizations because their stories are fascinating. Every time I read a new book, I become even more interested.
That's a perfect conversation. And notice how naturally we used both adjectives correctly.
Let's see if everyone listening has understood today's lesson so far. George, are you ready?
Absolutely.
A 3-hour meeting with no breaks is?
Boring.
The employees after the meeting are?
Bored.
A great movie full of action is?
Interesting. Or exciting, depending on the movie.
And the audience watching it feels?
Interested and excited.
Perfect. If you answered the same way, you're doing a fantastic job.
Today, we've learned an important rule that can improve your English immediately. Words ending in ing usually describe the thing causing the feeling, while words ending in ed describe the person's feeling.
We also learned 2 important adjective pairs: bored and boring, interested and interesting. These words appear in everyday conversations, so mastering them will make your English sound much more natural.
In our next episode, we'll continue with even more confusing adjective pairs, like tired and tiring, excited and exciting, surprised and surprising, confused and confusing, and many more. We'll also play some fun games and challenge each other with tricky sentences.
We hope you enjoyed today's conversation and learned something useful.
If this episode helped you, please don't forget to like this video. It really supports our channel.
And if you want more fun English lessons like this, click the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell.
Also, share this episode with your friends, classmates, or anyone who wants to improve their English.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today.
We'll see you in the next episode with more fun, more learning, and more confidence in English.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye!